Hello and welcome to another episode of the Good Hearted Podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Anderson, and today I'm sharing 5 things that I do to support my mental health. But before we get into that, I just have to say happy spooky season to everyone. I've got all my spooky stuff with me today. I have my Scared to Death shirt, one of my favorite podcasts that scares the shit out of me. And then I also have my little Mickey Disney cup with my Diet Coke in it. Look at him, he's so cute. And I also have my ghosty earrings in today, which I love. So before I dig into, the meat and potatoes of this episode, please be sure to get yourself a drink, get cozy. I'm going to get comfortable, but I'm really excited to dig into today's episode. Also, I cut all my hair off. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can probably see that. And I'm still working with a different camera. And so thank you for bearing with me and for being patient while I just came out of kind of a episode of depression, which I talked all about in my last episode. If you have not listened to that one, please feel free to go back and listen to the last episode. And then you can also watch a vlog that will be coming out soon that is all about why I have cut my hair off. So stay tuned for that one. And I had one more housekeeping kind of thing I want to talk about before I get started on this episode. And that's that I have decided to only upload episodes every other week. I took a lot of time to think about this and talk to Dylan about it and try to figure out what could work for me and what would set me up for success to be able to actually get content out on time the way I want to. And I think that's going to be by doing half the episodes that I normally do. Not saying that it will never go back to a weekly podcast. I hope that it does. But in this season of life, it needs to just be 2 a month, which honestly is super scary for me. I am very nervous to not be uploading every week, but I've just made the decision and I think I will do a really good job with this. Now, in addition to my 2 podcast episodes every week, I'm also going to do at least one other kind of bonus video on my YouTube channel. And most of those are probably going to be vlog style because that's the easiest thing for me to film right now with Harper and being home all the time. And so with doing just 2 podcast episodes a month, I'm still going to be doing the video podcast on YouTube. And then I'm also hoping to do one vlog style video every month, maybe 2 a month once I kind of get the hang of it and I get used to editing my own videos and things like that. But vlog style videos are just so much easier for me to film than sitting in this room, making sure the house is quiet and getting the time to get ready and all of that. And so I'm excited to have a format that's way more casual, that will be vlog style, and I can still share some more personal things that are happening more in real time in my life. So I hope you enjoy the podcast moving forward, and I hope that you also take a look at those vlogs because I am pretty stoked about those. Some that I have coming up, one is about my day bag. So basically, instead of a diaper bag, my mom bag, what I carry in it, and choosing the one that I wanted from Amazon. And then, like I said, I have the vlog on getting my hair cut off. And you can see the day kind of leading up to that. And then me wrapping up my thoughts and feelings on cutting my hair. And then I'm also going to start filming one today all about bullet journaling. I am very late to that party, but I am getting started. So anyway, I hope you take a look at those and you enjoy them. And all of those links that are available right now will be linked in the description. So I'm sure you know by the title of this episode and that I've already told you, today I'm sharing 5 things that I do to support my mental health and keep momentum going, to stay positive and just stay in a good mindset. It is so easy for me to fall back into negative self-talk and doubt and overwhelm and just all of these feelings that make me feel so negative and helpless. And I usually realize what happens is I stop doing some of these things that I normally do to support my mental health. And then I keep doing less and less and less of them. So maybe I'm doing all 5 of them really well. And I have a couple months that are great. And then I get a little complacent with a couple of the things. And so I'll let them kind of drop off and I'm not too worried about it. And then it ends up being a big snowball because I had just not setting myself up for success. instead of doing some of these little things every single day, I'm letting them all pile up. And then I am feeling so overwhelmed and frustrated that I have let things kind of get out of control. So I like to think of these things as preventative maintenance. So just like you do with your car and your house, when you start seeing things that aren't quite right or are sounding a little funky, you go get them checked out, right? And then maybe you do something to prevent you from getting in a crash or for something, to damage your house. And instead you replace or fix those things that are wrong. I feel like doing these 5 things is preventative maintenance and is what keeps me in a more positive headspace and just keeps my mental health in a better place overall. And so, like I said, I don't always do these all the time. And when I stop doing all of them is when I have one of those depressive episodes. And then again, it's just hard for me to get back out of it. But at least I can know, okay, I can start doing these 5 things again, even if I just start doing one thing at a time and being intentional with taking care of myself and my mental health. So, the first thing that is always, always good for me to do is to just get out of the house. Even if I just go in my backyard or to my mailbox, those are teeny tiny little things, but I just need to get out of my house sometimes. I need to stop seeing the clutter and the chores that need done and the things that need thrown away. And I just need to step away from the situation for a few minutes or just not feel like I am a prisoner in my home, feel like I can come and go as I please, even though, I do spend a lot of time at home. But getting out is so good for me. And sometimes when I'm in those depressive mind states, I cannot muster up the energy to get ready and be presentable enough to go somewhere. And so that's why I've also kind of let go of wearing lots of makeup in public or caring if my hair is clean or if it's greasy. Like, if I need to get out and I feel like it's going to take all of my energy just to get ready, then I'll just put something on that's presentable enough and then go do what I want to do or what I feel like I need to do to help get me back on track. And so I would rather use my energy actually doing that thing that will benefit me and help me feel better and help me to get ready the next day instead of dwelling about getting ready and then, mustering up the energy to go out and talk to strangers and, shop or whatever I decide to do that day. And so it's just so good for me to get out of the house. And I realize when I don't want to leave the house that I am definitely going downhill and that my mental health is not in a great place because normally I do crave that break from just being at home. And so this can be, like I said, as easy as going out into my backyard, maybe laying in my hammock and listening to an audiobook or a podcast episode. Or I could take a walk around the block. I could go to the grocery. I could go to the gym. I could go to the library, a bookstore, run some errands, do some returns. Like, even if it is a productive activity that I'm doing, just getting out of the house helps me feel so much better. And I know when I start staying in, I am not taking care of myself mentally because I just need like the brain break from my house to forget about my to-do list and to just listen to something I want to listen to and not be responsible for anything or anyone for just a little bit. And it makes a huge difference. The second thing I really need to do to support my mental health is to connect with other people. I used to be super extroverted. I craved like being around other people. Now I just feel like it drains my energy. I still have kind of like an endorphins or adrenaline high when I'm in a big group of people or I'm doing something fun or doing something new and, crazy. But sometimes I just can't convince myself that I can go out and expel that energy because I'm like, I am so fucking tired. I don't even know if I can get off the couch right now. But I always find when I can get my ass up out of bed and like get dressed and take some extra time or money to go do something new or hang out with a friend, I always feel better afterwards. I mean, I might be a little bit tired, but I always feel like I have a good time and a good conversation, and it's always worth the energy that I give up for it or the time or the money. And that doesn't mean that maybe I loved the thing that I spent money on, but I loved doing it with someone. And so something Dylan and I have done is started a little list of date night ideas because we don't go out on a ton of dates. And when we do get the chance to go out, we basically go to like TJ Maxx and dinner or maybe a movie, but not even like dinner and a movie. And that's fine, but sometimes we just want to mix it up a little bit. We want to do something different. And I always feel like we bond more when we do things like that. So don't be afraid to go with your partner or a friend and just do something new together, even if it's something that you've done separately by yourself or your friend has done it. Just go with them and have that new experience with them. I feel like I just end up loving that person so much more after spending that time with them, and maybe even seeing a side of them you don't normally see because you're put in like a different situation than you normally are. And so I'm thinking of like a breakout room game or axe throwing or going to a certain museum or a show, something that is just very different from what you would normally do. And even if you hate it or you feel like it was a waste of money, I'm sure you will still have some kind of memories that go along with it. And it doesn't always have to be like going out and doing things and spending money. It could literally be trying to do a FaceTime call or Skype or something like that, which I do not like doing those, but some people do. Or even just reaching out to one of your friends and texting them and see how they're doing. I always find that I feel a little bit better once I've had a little conversation with somebody I am close to and I feel like is hearing me, or even just like hearing that they are doing well makes me happy and makes me feel good and connected to them. Because a lot of my closer friends like do not live super close to me. A lot of my family lives far away. And so, it can be very isolating and lonely sometimes. And so it's just good for me to reach out to people who love me and are good friends. And, it's always nice to catch up and to know how they're doing. And sometimes when I am feeling down, again, I just don't feel like I have the energy to reach out, even though sending a text can be so simple. And so that's why I try to do it when I am feeling better, so that I don't feel weighed down by the pressure to reply or to think about what their message was or things like that. I'm sure I've mentioned this next point in my previous episode or in some other episode, but it really has made a huge difference for me. I realized that when I stop reading, I am not okay. Like if I am not actively engrossed in a book, whether it's physical or on my Kindle or an audiobook, then like there is something weird going on with me that I don't even have like the energy or the want to hear a new story. And so once I started coming out of this last depressive episode that I was in, I ended up binging some podcast episodes that I had kind of fallen back on and kind of got behind on. But then I also started digging into audiobooks, which I don't normally do. Like, I love audiobooks, but I usually prefer reading a physical book or my Kindle. But in this season of life, again, I just don't have a lot of time to sit still and physically read something. I don't have that kind of time to devote to something like that. But I have tons of time to pop in an earbud and listen to an audiobook either while I'm cooking or doing chores or even pushing Harper on the swing, like just having a little bit of me time throughout the day or while she's watching cartoons or something like that. It just makes me feel like an adult still. And I also changed what kind of audiobooks I listen to. So for a long time, I only really listened to self-help books on audiobook because I thought they were all weird, but I've just kind of gotten over that because I just want to consume the book. And right now, audio is just the best way for me to do it. And I actually started looking up more thriller novels instead of like rom-com audiobooks because I love listening to true crime podcasts and scary podcasts and stuff like that. And so it just made sense that like maybe I would like audiobooks better if they were telling like a really intense or like mystery kind of story instead of a rom-com that like everything's rainbows and unicorns and then like talking about sex and stuff. Sometimes that does weird me out on audiobooks. Sometimes it's done well, sometimes it's really fucking weird and I don't like it. But again, I am like working on that. But at least for now, I can definitely dive into my thriller and mystery and suspense books and have a very similar feeling to my true crime podcast that I love so much. And I love having just some podcast episodes or an audiobook or a physical book or something available because it just gives me a little bit of an escape from my life. So if I'm just feeling down, I'm frustrated or I'm sad and I can't even pinpoint why I'm feeling that way, I don't have to stay in that state if I don't want to. Usually a book will help me kind of shake that off and get back to enjoying my day with my daughter. Another thing that I do all the time to support my mental health is cleaning up my space. That does not mean my house is clean or spotless by any means. Like literally, you should see what my office looks like right now. I feel like I say that all the time, and that's because it is always a fucking mess. I will maybe at some point get ahead of it, but I don't know if I will. And with that, I'm trying to just let some of that shit go and not let it get in the way of me enjoying myself or having a good day. I'm getting better at saying I'm having a good day and my house is messy. Not like my house is messy, which is making me have a bad day. I can have both or say like, well, this day isn't as great as it could be because I could have done more. I could have cleaned more. I could have done something else. So I'm trying to just give myself a little bit more grace when it comes to shit like that. And like, I just got to let it go because we live here. Like people live here. It's going to look like people live here. It's going to smell like dogs and cats live here. Well, a dog and a cat, even though I always have wax melts and air freshener. And I try to make it smell like there's no animals that live here, but there still are animals here. And so I'm just realizing that some things on Pinterest and Instagram is just not attainable, and that's okay. And I can be okay with that. And I can just, be like, well, we live here. So you don't have to come over if you don't want to. But if you do, don't expect it to be spotless. And so what I do to try to make cleaning up and chores a little bit easier on myself is as I'm going throughout the day, if I am going from the living room back into my bedroom to take like one specific thing back there or to go grab something from my room and bring it out, I might just kind of look around the living room or maybe even the kitchen and be like, oh yeah, this needs to go back to my room. And then I'll try to grab that at the same time. And I usually just set it on my bed. But just getting it to like the correct room is huge. And getting some of that clutter off of my counter is great for me. And so just doing little things like that, like every time I go to Harper's room, I try to pick up, any socks that are laying around or toys that need to go in her room or certain clothes or shoes or something like that. Like there are always things out of place. And so just if I'm already going to one of those rooms, I try to pick some other things up and take them with me. Again, super small thing to do, but it's a nice habit to get started. That way, just as you're going throughout your day, you're not like setting aside 20 minutes to necessarily put all these things back where they go. Just as you're going naturally throughout the day, you're dropping those things off where they need to go. And to go right along with that, if I don't just throw it on my bed, if it's something that I can get done like within 20 seconds, I will just do it right then and there instead of just laying it on my bed for me to come back to later. For example, so if I find a pair of dirty socks and shoes in the living room for Harper, I will take them back to her room and like immediately put the socks in the hamper, which is literally a laundry basket under her bed. And then I will, if I have the time, I'll open her closet and put her shoes in there where they belong. If I don't have time, I will leave them on her bed. That way they're like out in a spot where I can see them and I'm reminded later that day to finish that task. And so like it does not take that long for me to open the closet door and put the shoes in, but I'm sure you've been there where it's like there is an emergency. Whatever is going on, it cannot wait that 5 seconds for me to put these in the closet. So I will just throw them on the bed. But again, like especially with her hamper being on the floor, I can just use my foot to like push out that basket a little bit, drop her shit in there, and then keep going with my day, which is very nice. So In addition to doing those little things, I've just tried to put things in better places that work better for me and how I function. So basically, having a system that works well for me and for my family, but primarily me, since I'm usually doing the cleaning up and the putting things away and all of that. So now we're going to talk about the last thing that I do to support my mental health. I probably do other things here and there, but when I went to sit down and write the notes for this episode, these 5 things were what came to mind. And I saved the hardest for last. So I don't know, you're welcome or I'm sorry. So, the thing that really, really helps my mental health, but is really hard for me to do, is connecting with myself. And that is something I have been working on in therapy and even talking with Dylan about it, talking with my friends about it. But I do feel so much better when I take a little bit of time to get to know myself in this season of life. But if I'm regularly trying to take care of my mental health, I will do things like read. Like having that escapism is so important for me, and being able to actually set aside the time to do it, or instead of, watching a YouTube video, maybe I listen to an audiobook instead, and I always feel better versus when I'm watching a YouTube video or scrolling on Facebook or Instagram, I just feel like a fucking zombie. Like I'm not really retaining the information unless I'm like being diligent and researching something and really paying attention to it. But most of the time, I'm just like glazed over listening or watching a YouTube video. And so if I don't have an audiobook that I'm listening to at the moment, it's so important for me to like read a physical chapter at the end of the night. Like I feel so much better. I feel like it kind of completes my day. And then I try not to touch my phone anymore after that, even though sometimes I still do. But I also like doing tarot readings. Again, I haven't done this in a while. I guess I actually have 2 oracle decks. If you know much about tarot, they are different, but it's similar. And I used to draw a card every single day and do like my own little reading. And I've just gotten out of the practice of it, but I'm really hoping to get back into it because usually it was kind of like, reading your horoscope. I just felt like I got a little bit of insight into my situation and maybe got to see it from a different perspective. When I would ask a question and I'd get a specific card, and then I could kind of dig into, the meaning of it and see what I took away from it. And then it usually was just something that was kind of in the back of my mind for the rest of the day, something I was thinking I would work on, and just, again, a little bit of escapism to like focus on something else that's a little more fun and feels a little bit more fulfilling than just getting all my chores done. So some other things that I do to connect with myself is try a new hairstyle or take time to paint my nails, look up on Pinterest some outfit inspirations and put a cute little outfit together. Then maybe I will even go somewhere. But even if I don't, like, I just feel cute because I tried something new and different. And if I can't get out of the house, I'm often thinking about how I can make my house more cozy or how I can add another little cozy spot to my home, or, amplify the hygge wherever I can. And so just thinking of other ways to make myself feel welcomed in my own house and to be comfortable at home. But I am also trying to like use up gift cards that I've gotten, use those as an excuse to get out of the house, because a lot of times I will use my gift cards like online, which is great and fine, but sometimes you have one to a restaurant and you just like never find yourself going there. Well, you could take yourself on a date or take somebody else on a date and go out and enjoy that gift card and just have something to do because it's already paid for and you don't have to worry about that. So I think that's great to use the gift cards you have, because I know I have lost them or they've expired or like the money has dwindled down on the card because I took way too long to use it. And like that sucks. Somebody got you that or you bought yourself that. You need to spend it and take care of yourself and do something fun. You absolutely deserve it. So when I stop doing one of these things that I diligently do to support and protect my mental health, it is like a domino effect. Usually the first one I give up on is connecting with myself immediately. Then it's connecting with others. Then it's not reading a book, not cleaning my house, then not feeling like I can leave the house because my house is so messy and I have so much to do. And so it's like when I stop taking 20 minutes a day to just go in my room, even if I lay on the bed and I just breathe for 20 minutes or scroll on TikTok or doodle or color for 20 minutes. Like, if I'm not taking 20 minutes by myself to truly unwind, like everything goes downhill for me. And so I'm trying to make it much easier and again, put some systems in place so that I'm not worried about taking that time to take care of myself. Because when I take care of myself and do these things that keep my mental health in a good place, then I am a better mother and a wife and a friend, and I'm happy. And like, I know that the people around me want to see me happy. They don't want to deal with me when I'm grumpy and pissy, and I don't blame them. And so I need to stop saying I don't have time to take care of myself when really I don't have time to not take care of myself, because my life is going to keep rolling with me or without it. Like, all of the normal chaos of everyday life is going to continue. And so it's not going to stop anytime soon. And even in different seasons of life, the chaos will just change to be a different kind of chaos. And so you just need to be taking care of yourself the best you can when you can. On those good mental health days, take advantage of that and do the things that are hard to do, or treat yourself to something that will help get you back on track to having a better mindset and just be in a better place mentally. I hope now you understand how I support my mental health, and maybe you can even start doing these 5 things if you aren't doing any of them or just doing a few of them right now. And I hope that it helps you on your journey and you're able to feel taken care of and in control of your life. Because even though things happen in life, we still have to kind of react to it and move forward in the best way we can. And so at the end of the day, you are in control of most things. I mean, there's lots of things that you can't control, and I totally understand that. Just know that you can get into a better and a good, nourishing mindset. It just might take some time to really get there and truly feel better. But I believe that you can do it. Thank you so much for watching this video today. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next one.